Some games are designed to scare you, others are designed to mess with your head, but then there are the games you were never meant to find at all. Titles so disturbing, so broken, or so cursed, they were pulled from the internet, banned from stores, or lost in digital obscurity. These aren't your typical horror games with cheap jump scares and blood-soaked hallways. These are the banned, the buried, and the digitally damned. Games with disturbing backstories, corrupted files, or rumors of real-world consequences. We're starting with one of the most infamous games to ever crawl out of the internet's shadow. Sadsatan. The game first appeared in 2015 when a YouTube channel called Obscure Horror Corner uploaded footage claiming it was found on the dark web. The video showed a first-person walk through dark, claustrophobic hallways, distorted children's screams echoing in the background, and strange, flashing images that felt more like real-life trauma than game design. There's no clear objective, no enemies, just an overwhelming sense that you shouldn't be playing this. Some rooms are filled with low-quality JPEGs of infamous criminals and victims. Others flash subliminal messages. And sometimes, the game seems to react to the player in ways it shouldn't. Obscure Horror Corner refused to share the download link, claiming it was dangerous and full of files that weren't just corrupted, but possibly illegal. And after a few uploads, the channel went completely silent. Was it all a hoax? An ARG? Maybe. But some who did manage to download versions of the game claimed their PCs started glitching out, or worse, they were contacted by strangers afterward. Today, no verified version of Sadsatan exists, just corrupted copies and whispers. This next game wasn't found on the dark web, but it probably should have stayed lost. Hong Kong 97 is one of the most bizarre, offensive, and disturbing games ever made, and it was actually released for the Super Famicom in 1995. The game was slapped together in just a few days by a Japanese magazine writer using the alias Kowloon Kurosawa. He created it as a joke, or maybe a protest, against both the gaming industry and Hong Kong politics at the time, but the result wasn't funny. It was something else entirely. You play as a man named Chin, whose mission is to kill all 1.2 billion people in China. Yes, seriously. And that's just the beginning. The game features real-world images of dead bodies, stolen photos of Jackie Chan, a looping communist propaganda anthem, and a barely functional gameplay loop where you're instantly killed over and over. But what makes it even worse is the atmosphere. It doesn't feel like satire. It feels like a glitching, hateful message smuggled into cartridge form and left to rot in thrift stores. The creator vanished. The game was nearly impossible to find for years. And even now, it's rarely mentioned without a deep sense of discomfort. Hong Kong 97 isn't scary because of ghosts or monsters. It's scary because it feels like it was never meant to exist. On the surface, Petscop looks like an unfinished kids game from the PlayStation 1 era. But what lies beneath is one of the strangest and most disturbing mysteries ever uploaded to YouTube. The first video appeared in 2017 on a brand new channel claiming to show gameplay of a never-released game called Petscop. The graphics were simple, cheerful. You catch little creatures called pets in a place called the gift plane. But after a few minutes, the player inputs a strange code. And just like that, the entire game changes. You're transported to a dark, unfinished world. The music fades, the pets vanish. Now, you're exploring a place called the Newmaker Plain, filled with disturbing references to child abuse, real-life disappearances, and a girl named Care, who may have died in a basement. The more videos that were uploaded, the weirder it got. Cryptic messages, talking tools. One moment you're solving puzzles, the next you're listening to a narrator who seems to be talking directly to someone who isn't you. For years, no one knew who was behind it. Some thought it was an ARG. Others believed it was connected to real events, especially when the game began referencing things that hadn't even happened yet. Petscop never ended. It just stopped. The channel went dark in 2019, leaving behind a story that's never been fully explained. Some say it was all fiction, but others believe it was a digital diary, a confession hidden inside a game that was never meant to be played. Sometimes the most terrifying games aren't the ones filled with blood or jump scares. They're the ones that make you feel like you're being watched. The Deep Sleep Trilogy is a point-and-click horror game series developed by Script Welder. And while it never got banned, many players felt like something about it was wrong. The first game starts with a simple premise. You've learned to control your dreams, and now you're exploring the world of lucid dreaming. But very quickly, it becomes clear you're not alone in this dream. You descend deeper and deeper into pitch-black corridors, broken rooms, and endless static, and then you encounter them. The shadow people. They don't speak, they don't chase. They just appear in the dark and stare. In later entries, you realize that these beings aren't just nightmares. They may be conscious, and they may have once been human. People who stayed in the dream world too long and forgot how to wake up. The games start asking chilling questions. What happens when you dream so deep, you never wake up? And what if something else does, in your place? Deep sleep doesn't rely on gore or loud noise to scare you. It uses silence, isolation, and the idea that your body might not always belong to you. And once you finish all 3 games, you'll start to wonder, was it really just a dream? And lastly, we have Thrillkill, a game so brutal, so sadistic, it was banned before it was ever released. Developed in 1998 for the PlayStation 1, Thrillkill was a 4-player fighting game built around one thing, ultra-violence. But this wasn't Mortal Kombat. This was something darker. The characters were twisted representations of pain, trauma, and psychosis. A legless contortionist strapped to a wheeled harness, a dominatrix in full BDSM gear, a psychotic little person in a straitjacket. There was no health bar. Instead, you built up a kill meter, and when it was full, you could unleash a thrill kill, a grotesque execution-style finisher. But it wasn't just the gore. It was the vibe. The game was filled with moaning, screaming, religious symbols warped into satanic imagery, in environments that felt like torture chambers ripped from someone's nightmare. Just weeks before release, publisher Electronic Arts, who had inherited the game through a merger, took one look and said absolutely not. They canceled it instantly, saying they didn't want their name associated with something so depraved, and that should have been the end. But somehow, leaked copies of the game spread across the internet. People who played it said it felt more like a digital snuff film than a fighting game. Buggy, broken, and wrong. Thrillkill never got a commercial release, but it lives on in bootlegs, burned CDs, and haunted emulators, like a curse passed from one console to the next. Some of these games were never meant to be played, but once you've seen them, it's hard to forget. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments which of these disturbed you the most, or if you've heard of any other banned or cursed games I should cover next. And if you enjoyed deep dives into the dark side of the internet and gaming, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Until then, stay safe, and maybe don't press start.